Krista Taralva, who is the education reporter for the San Antonio Express News. Also from the Express News, Emily Eaton, criminal justice reporter. Thank you for joining us on The Conversation Continues. Krista, the legislature made a big deal, as you know, about HB 3. It was going to revolutionize education and benefit teachers. Is it working? Is it benefiting teachers? Are teachers pleased with the raises and the kind of adjustments in the way they work?
Well, superintendents across Bexar County have told me that HB 3 hasn't delivered quite as much as was promised. If you recall, at the beginning of the legislative session, there was talk about teachers getting six figures across the board. Mm-hmm. That didn't happen. There were raises here in Bexar County, but across the state there were raises, but the percent was rather small here in Bexar County, about 5% in some districts. And I think teachers and counselors and librarians, those are the ones that got the raises. I think they thought they'd be seeing a lot more. So we heard from several teachers unions who said, you know, our teachers should be getting more than what they were given.
That sounds like it's not good for morale if you promise a lot and deliver a little.
Yeah. It was really hard for some superintendents. Brian Woods from Northside was one of the very first ones to say this is not going to come out as good as it sounds, and he really tried to caution in public against getting your hopes up for too much, and he ended up being right.
Emily, we've had some issues with the SAPD's Special Victims Unit. We had a scandal a couple of years ago where cases were literally left on the shelf. I understand that Chief McManus and the other brass at the police department, in conjunction with city officials, are finally making some changes to make that department work.
Yes, they started changes as soon as they found out about these so-called botched cases. And this week, or last week actually, they provided an update on those continued efforts. One of those things that they're trying to do is to acquire a new records management system that would allow them to more thoroughly investigate some of these crimes, which are domestic violence and sexual assault crimes. And one thing that this detective is allegedly accused of doing is closing out cases without a supervisor's approval, which is, of course, not a good thing. So they have closed that gap, but this records management system will allow them to thoroughly investigate these crimes, create reports more thoroughly, et cetera.
We've heard horror stories in the legislature that voted more money and set deadlines on processing sexual assault rape kits. Is that a problem in San Antonio? We've heard stories about rape kits sitting on the shelf until the statute of limitations on the crime expires. I mean, incredibly incompetent work. Has that been a problem here, or are sexual assault cases handled in a timely manner in SAPD?
Not to our knowledge. We're under the impression that sexual assault cases are handled pretty thoroughly. These cases that this detective is accused of messing up was a small percentage of the amount of cases that they hold. It was probably 130 cases that he messed up, or he's accused of messing up. So we think that for the most part, the police department's response to these issues is very thorough.
My only reaction is it's a sad state of affairs when 130 cases is a small number. Emily Eaton, criminal justice reporter for the San Antonio Express News. Also from the Express News, thank you for joining us, Krista Taralva, education reporter. And thank you for joining us on The Conversation Continues.